Okay, it's 6 o'clock. I'm going to call the Village of Blair Board to order. Please silence all cell phones and refrain from using them during the meeting. And look for the approval of the agenda.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 3, public appearances and citizens' comments on items not listed on this agenda. Items will not be debated or acted upon at this meeting, but will be referred to the proper staff or committee if action is required. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Sandy, did you want to speak at this time?
I did.
Okay. This is the public comment section.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, you can sit, stand, you can come to the table.
No. Not really sure how this all works. I have tried to make it. I haven't timed it, so I'm hoping it's. This is Bart, my husband. We've owned homes for over 4 years, and this is the first time I've ever contested.
Excuse me, Sandy, I'm having a hard time hearing you. Sorry.
If you want, you can bring the chair up and sit in the chair, whatever you want to do. That helps.
Yeah.
Thank you.
4
Deep breath,
years.
you got it.
4 years.
We've owned homes for nearly 4 years, and this is the first time I've ever contested our property taxes. It's also the first time I felt so deeply concerned about an issue. I decided to speak before the village. I'm not a good speaker, so I have written this down because
Okay.
I do get sidetracked really easy and go on tangents that don't always make sense to anyone else but me. We have lived at 519 Fifth Avenue since we closed April 6, 2018. The original house was built around the 1900s and was last renovated a few years prior to our purchase. We have installed a fence, which we obtained a building permit for, and a small camper pad, which was installed by Bob the. Other than those improvements, we've only made updated landscaping, which we've done a lot of, paint, flooring, typical home maintenance items. The house would be considered a very average home. We love it, but definitely not high end. It's not a mansion. It's a nice house that we happen to like. The assessor during the village assessment, the assessor set up a date and time to go through our house for the reassessment in 2023, but was a no-show for appointment. We waited, never heard anything from them. The tax assessment in 2022 was $253,500 and was raised to $402,400 in 2023 after the village reassessment. This represents an increase of about 59%. We were shocked by the increase, but messaging from the village, not just to us, we didn't call about it at that time, but just general messaging was assessments are going to go up. It's overall, everyone's assessment's going up, so don't be overly concerned because everyone's going up. You may get a slight increase, but overall, it evens out. In the end, and that's how it's supposed to work. We received our tax bill in late November, early December of 2023, and we're surprised again at how much our tax increased. It wasn't 59%, but it was considerably larger than expected. In mid-2025, our neighbor across the street installed a new driveway and retaining wall. We watched the previous 7 years as he renovated his home with great curiosity as what his taxes were, so I did some research and found tax records that showed we were paying over $5,000. He was paying over $5,000 less annually than what we were, though his home would probably sell for at least what ours would, if not more. That led me to review many other homes and found that our tax assessments seemed very out of line with other homes, not just around us, but through the village. I brought up my concerns with Kelsey. I do want to call out Kelsey for being empathetic to our issues. She did take the time to call me on a Sunday when she was busy before I hired the clerk. I think it was just a really weird situation, but I do want to call out that I did feel that she had empathy, even though I didn't really understand all the dates and stuff. I received the tax guide, but still really don't understand some of the dates because they seem to contradict each other to me. It seems that the assessment issues of this size are not typical, and in fact, very rare. Typically, they occur when most of the residents work at a large employer that closes a plant, resulting in a dive in a housing market where your values plummet and your taxes will reflect that. We know that's not the case in this situation. I was told I missed open book, which I did, and would need to wait until open book in 2026. I participated in open book with Dana on May 6th, Dana from the assessor office. When she started the meeting, Dana told me she was aware last year in 2025 that our assessment was wrong. I asked how this happens, and she was pretty vague about why it happened. We made no changes that would account for the level of increase. She didn't have any errors in the size of rooms. She very quickly came back with a reduced assessment down to 322,400, an approximate 20% decrease without really any negotiations. I very much seemed that she had that number in mind before the meeting. This amount was approved by the village board of review, and our tax bill for 2026 to be paid in 2027 will likely be about $1,500 less. I did ask the assessor, she recorded her calls, but they don't do that, and they're not legally required to do it. The error in the assessment is neither the village or our fault. It was an error by the assessor. My issue is the amount I paid for the past few years due to the overassessment. We take responsibility for the fact that we shouldn't have trusted the assessment was correct. What I have a hard time coming to terms with is that we didn't just have to pay the extra $1,500 one year, but every year since the assessment. From what I've read, an error of this amount is most likely a probable error, and that it is rare to have an error as large as what happened with our house. The assessor said she knew it was error. It was a matter of, if it was a matter of a few $100s, I wouldn't be here speaking with you and would be happy with our new tax assessment. But with an error this large, it does make much more of a difference. Why did the assessor, when they knew that the error last year, not make the correction and notify the board per section 70.43 of the state law, which I believe states if they find an error, they can do it even if it's not open book. And I have that statute. If the error had been corrected when discovered, the difference would have been refunded last year, and then our correct assessment would have been reflected for 2025 payable in 2026. My understanding is that each municipality can refund overpayments of this type. Again, an error of this amount is rare. I understand not wanting to refund small amounts, but that's not the case here. I understand that other than the assessor saying she knew the assessment was an error, I do not have documented proof, because I don't have her recording of the error. I'm relying on historical and statistical evidence combined with her statement and the lack of additional investigation as evidence. A palpable error as property assessment is a clear, obvious material mistake that is so evident it can be corrected without further investigation. An assessment increase of 59% is a very large increase, far above typical annual changes. Such a jump is unusual and suggests a significant overvaluation if it's not tied to a major market surge or property change such as an addition. Short of hiring an expensive attorney and taking sworn statements is the information I have at the time. I understand it does take time to process refunds, but would urge the board to look at this situation and make the appropriate refund.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You did good.
Thank you. My cats love your, my dog loves your cats. That's all I got. Thank you.
And Sandy, if you wanna send or give me a copy of that to the record, if you want to, you don't have to. It's totally up to you.
I have a copy.
Thank you very much. That way I can put it on the record. Just if you want to say what's the second agenda.
You want to speak on the agenda item?
Yeah, and it may not have anything to say, I just
Okay,
wanted to
okay,
be involved in something that I've been involved in before.
okay, thank you. Okay, moving on, approval of the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. New business. Item A, consideration discussion of Green County Development Corporation Public Wi-Fi project. It's on page 12, and Wendy is here to make the presentation.
And for those of you online, I'm sharing Wendy's presentation.
Thank you.
to the screen.
Welcome to sit in a more comfortable chair.
For the village board, you all have this in your packet. And this is in the online agenda packet as well.
So I have met a few of you, but for those of you who don't know me, thank you. I'm Wendy Flanagan with Green County Development. As another aspect of my role, I also act as the broadband coordinator for Green County. So it is in that role that I come to speak with you today, just to discuss Green County has some additional ARPA funds left over back from, we got them back in COVID, and they have to be used by the end of this year. So they are under oversight of the Green County IT department. And the IT department decided that we didn't have enough money left to do like a large scale broadband project in the county. So we wanted to do whatever bite-sized pieces we could do realistically. So what they decided that they wanted to do was create open, free public Wi-Fi networks in every community in the county. So I come to you with the project proposal for New Glarus. This has kind of been a long conversation, and it's gone through a little bit of evolution. And we have found, we think we've found the best possible project plan for where we're at right now. So as of right now, we have a Wi-Fi network that is complete in Albany, and we have them under construction in Broadhead, Brooklyn, Judah, and Monticello. And we are still in planning stages here in New Glarus and in Monroe. So all of those projects will need to be done by the end of this year. So it's a pretty big undertaking, but we're getting through it. So the company that we're working with is TC Networks. They're they're headquartered out of Platteville, but they do work all over southern Wisconsin. And they are the ones who have been helping us with creating these network plans and doing the installations for us. So Green County has made a commitment towards improving our broadband situation in the county and digital equity and access for all of our residents. Digital equity, the internet has become part of our lives. It's getting to the point where it is becoming a utility. And sometime in the next decade, probably, it will start being regulated like a utility. As of right now, it is really not. It's still a little bit of the Wild West out there as far as internet service providers. But it has become such an integrated part in our lives. It will at some point become a utility. And it's, we want to make sure that everyone has equal opportunity to be able to access education, resources, job opportunities, healthcare information, government, and all those social connections. So that is our goal in this. So just to give you a little bit of an idea on basically, why is this important? Why is this important to you as a community? So in the the goal of this digital access is to help make sure that everyone, even if you don't have good quality or affordable internet in your home, that there are still spaces available in our communities where you can utilize that to be able to sort of level that playing field on access. So if you live inside the village, you've probably got pretty good coverage. If you live in the rural areas, probably not as much. And that's just a numbers game. You know, these internet service providers don't see the return on investment when they have to go a half a mile between customers. So it's really hard to get them to work on rural projects. And so it's kind of a David and Goliath thing. We're doing the parts that we can do. But both affordability and quality options can be a roadblock, especially for rural residents. So the goal is to try to see expansion into spaces where they don't necessarily have business hour limitations, because, you know, a lot of coffee shops, mostly, you know, libraries, there are spaces out there, but they all have business hours. And so we want to try to make sure that there are spaces that don't have those limitations, where, you know, there's access at any time. So the network also has the added benefit, and especially in this community, this is a really big bonus, huge bonus for tourists and festival visitors. And especially because this network that we are planning will cover a chunk of your downtown area where you host a lot of your festivals. You know, a lot of people come to your communities from quite a distance away. And, you know, even if everybody's got a cell phone in their pocket, if you're away from your home, you know, kind of your home network, you don't necessarily get great coverage, you know, in every place. So that's going to help all of those tourists. And again, it is becoming kind of an expected thing to have these sorts of networks available. So when people come here and they say, oh, you know, they've got open Wi-Fi networks, you know, like that's a really great bonus for people who are coming into the community. And also, because you have so many festivals and everything downtown, it does also help out your vendors, because it opens up more opportunity for them to be able to make credit card sales and e-commerce. So especially in this community, that I think is a really big bonus for, I mean, that is not our main goal in doing this, but for this community, that's a huge bonus. So, basically, I feel like this is something that once you have it, you'll be very happy you do. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you'll ever regret having something like this available. So just to go into a little bit more detail about the proposal, the plan is to utilize the new public library as an anchor point, essentially. So we would basically piggyback off of the network inside the library, and we would install 3 Wi-Fi units on the outside of the building that would then broadcast a signal out into the street and the surrounding area. So in the northeast corner, in the northeast corner, it would point in this direction. So we would be able to hit at least a chunk of the DNR parking lot. In the southeast corner, that would point in this direction, so we would hit some of this public parking on Railroad Street. And then in this corner, it would actually talk to this light pole, which would then broadcast in that shape. Am I blocking the TV? I'm really sorry. So this will broadcast, but it will also do double duty and be talking to this light pole. So in this project, we do have to get 24-hour power to this light pole, which it probably doesn't have. But this project the ARPA funds will pay for all equipment, all required electrical work, which would include getting 24-hour power to that pole. Because most of your poles are probably on dawn dusk, which means they don't have power when the light's not on, which isn't that helpful. And then any signage, we would pay for signage just to let the public know that there is a Wi-Fi network available, so they know to look for one. Kelsey sent me an email earlier today, asking if these, instead of being right on the corner, could be up in the peaks on these. I don't think that that's a problem. I don't know if you got my email.
I saw it, I didn't think it was either, because we don't have, and Wendy, correct me if I'm wrong, but a huge blocker or deterrent to this is large trees.
Yeah.
So if you have a big tree right in front of where you're putting this, it's not gonna get through, and obviously with the library being brand new, we don't have large trees.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because our first initial plan was possibly from running from this building into the park across the street. But a lot of trees, and trees grow.
Yeah.
So even if they're small now, they get bigger.
Yeah.
So that's why we shifted our focus to the library, and just because then we would more of the downtown area, and kind of do that double duty with the tourism aspect of it as well. So, you know, this will cover a decent footprint in your downtown area. And like I said, we're paying for all of it. So the only thing, so let me just pause there. Does anybody have any questions about that so far? I know I threw a lot at you.
Are we restricted to the map that's already been penciled out at the moment?
Restricted in what way?
Like just to the service area. I mean, you can skip Wi-Fi signals, 3 different repeaters before you signal, and shove them 5 miles before you lose actual contact.
Mhm.
So, like the playground and the pool area, I was curious, it's part of land where, and you could even shoot down to the baseball diamond. Stuff over here too. If it's just literally for the downtown area, to have fiber at the library right now, or is it still copper out there?
I think it's fiber.
It's
Yeah.
fiber.
Mhm.
So at that point, is it going to be, then from that point, the free Wi-Fi for customers running around, is there going to be a separate SSID for businesses that are trying to do their transactions on, you know, their Square accounts and stuff when they are pulled up here? Or is it all gonna be just open access type
So you will have to log in.
login?
Yeah.
Like a, you know,
Yeah.
customer portal type of thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. As far as being able to spread it further than that, there were a couple of reasons why those were issues. First of all, city light poles, I mean, basically you have to have a place to put them, right? So city poles can work, but if they are like power poles, like owned by the power company, they don't like to share. They don't like to share their poles.
Well, you don't want to run the portals.
Yeah. So as far as making this bigger, the problem for going further north was there aren't city poles there. Those are all power poles to be able to go up around the corner and to the park. And the city street lamps that run along the side of the park already have trees growing in between them. So that was a little bit of the problem with that area. So I mean, that's not to say that at a certain point you couldn't expand this. If you wanted to, you could. But this is basically where we could get a reasonable footprint in the community with what we had to work with.
And I would add too, you know, this is a grant opportunity for the village. I mean, this is what is covered by the grant, and is costing the village nothing for this portion. So if the village, I mean, we've had similar conversations when we talked about putting cameras downtown that require power, and you know, we've talked about that, but obviously it's expensive. So I think this is an opportunity, and really, I think the main goal at the end of the day, at least on the village side of things, is to provide free public Wi-Fi access for those that need that accessibility. I think businesses being able to use it or tourists being able to connect to it is a great bonus, but I don't think that's the main goal of the grant program
Mhm.
as subscribed by the county board.
Yes, exactly.
Maggie, you have a question?
I did have a question. Is there, in the grant, is there an opportunity to provide digital literacy for those folks that don't have that capability or understand
So-
how to go through the portals? Or,
So actually, another, another aspect, so this, these Wi-Fi networks are actually only part of what we're spending our ARPA funds on. And another chunk of our ARPA funds are going to all of the public libraries for digital training.
okay,
And, you know, so that they can hold digital literacy classes and things like that. So basically, they can format those classes however they choose to. But yeah, that would be a fantastic use of some of that money. And, but yes, there's definitely an opportunity for that.
and then the other question I had, well, kind of like hidden costs for the village, obviously none.
Mhm.
But what about technical support? Like, let's say something goes down, is that on the village then to provide that?
It is. Let me get to the next, you're one ahead of me. Okay.
It's probably me.
So let me go to the next. So this is basically what the equipment looks like. So they're fairly small units. They can be painted so that they can match the pole, match the exterior of the building so that they're not obtrusive. Firewalls and cybersecurity are obviously going to be a priority on this. We want to make sure that the library's internal network is not compromised in any way. So those protections get put in place. And the data is outflow only. So another question that we had in another conversation that I'd had with Kelsey is, she was asking, first of all, how do you know that somebody's not using this like in their apartment above one of the shops downtown or something like that? I mean, like, can they log in and just stay logged in? Well, there are protections that can be put in place. There are things you can do like content blocking, time schedule available, you know, you can schedule it where it's only available from this time to this time, something like that. There are user data limits and user time limits too. So like as someone logs in, you can be like, okay, you can't be logged in for more than an hour, and then you have to re-log in, or, you know, something like that to kind of prevent that I'm staying logged in all day. I don't know that the signal will really be strong enough to be able to reach the inside of those buildings downtown. So like one of the business owners would not be able to use this as their business internet. That would. So that wouldn't, but so anyway, so after it would be installed, we'll go to the next one. So after it is installed, the network is 100% owned and controlled by the village. So if anything happens, if you have an outage or any sort of issue, you can call TC Networks or any other networking company. If the village has a networking company that you like to use or something like that, they can come and work on it, but it is your network at that point. So it does have warranties on both the installation and the equipment. The outdoor equipment is expected to last about 10 years.
And then after that, it's our responsibility.
After that, it would be your responsibility, or potentially, I mean, there could be new grants out there at that point. But realistically, when you think about how much technology has changed in 10 years from now, this might be obsolete. So, I mean, you might be looking at something completely different 10 years from now. So, that's kind of where we're at, is we'll install it and we'll get it all ready for you, and then it's yours to just run with it. So
Wendy, I have a question.
Mhm.
So if we have an issue with this, it gets installed, we have an issue with it, we call TC Networks to come out here, and they get out here and they're like, oh, or any network company, and they get out here and say, oh, it's actually equipment. we still have to pay them to come out, even though it was an equipment issue. I understand if we have like a internet outage at the library that affects these, but I guess I'm more concerned about making sure that if we have constant issues, I understand the equipment's covered, but what about the trip charges and?
The
you know?
the installation's also warranty. So if something is wrong in installation, or you're having it, like
Sure.
if it's buggy or something like that and you're having a hard time with it. I think I know that installation is for at least a year.
Okay.
And then the equipment each piece of equipment might have its own different warranty, but it's all at least a year. So I don't think you would have any costs, at least for the first year on it. And if you have, I don't know, if it gets hit by lightning or something like that, I mean,
Right,
like,
right.
then I guess I don't really have an answer for you. But the thing is, because you own it and it is yours to control, if you find that it's not being utilized, if you find that it's causing more problems than it's worth, then turn it off. I mean, if you don't have the funds to fix it at the time,
From a financial management perspective for the village,
Yeah.
I know that
yeah,
when
you
we
don't want
offer
surprises.
service, our residents come to expect that service.
Yeah.
Even when that service goes up in cost, and trying to explain
Mhm,
cuts is never an easy conversation to have. So I just wanna make sure that the village board is very aware
mhm.
of the responsibility that if we put this out there and it's going really, really well, people are really utilizing it, and there's an issue, we are responsible. And I don't think that's necessarily a reason one way or the other, but I just want you to be aware that we would be responsible for fixing that. And then, as Wendy mentioned, after the 10 years, we can just do away with it, or we would be responsible for upgrading the equipment, et cetera, et cetera.
And who is responsible for setting those time limits, or, like when it goes on and off? Is it the village board? Is it the library?
Yeah, so the library will have those controls in the building, and TC Networks, when they set it up, will show them how they want all of those settings to be controlled. So that's something, and it can be changed at any time. It's not like it's a static thing that you change it once and that's just how it is. I mean, it's a software that you can go in and change those settings as needed.
My plan is to work with Chief Sturdivant to bring to the board, so I wanna know what the board wants to do with this from here. If the board chooses to move forward with this isn't getting installed tomorrow.
Mhm.
So my goal is to bring this back to a future board meeting to set those parameters with Chief Sturdivant's recommendations. Amy Trumbull and Jeff and I have had extensive conversation about, just making sure that this is a good fit for our community. So this is not something that we expect Amy and her staff to have to watch every single day or set those parameters. This is something that we would like the village board to give us clear direction on parameters. Obviously, if there's an issue, we'll deal with it as it comes, but that would be a later meeting. I didn't even want to get into that detail until I knew if we wanted to move forward, so.
Can you tell me the value of the hardware, like the value of everything that you're putting downtown for this?
I can't remember the cost of the estimate off the top of my head. And the estimate that I got was both for labor, for installation and equipment. They didn't separate it out. I think total, it was about $20,000.
Is that already signed?
What?
Is that already signed? I didn't feel on that one.
Okay.
Sorry.
It is a fairly small area. And the library is open limited hours, so it's really just for people, isn't at the pool or the park, or where people would be sitting. So it's really so limited. I guess the whole purpose would be to provide our community. It just seems like it wouldn't be of much use, in my opinion. It doesn't even, it does more, goes about a block.
I think it'd be a game changer for festivals.
Yeah.
Festivals, there's never excess, like you're trying to use your phone, like even the chamber in beer sales has trouble running credit cards when it gets too busy. I think even if that's only like, 5 weekends a year, it would be a noticeable benefit. And the vendors, obviously, it would benefit them too. And
I don't think it's just a 5-weekend thing. I mean, the downtown is busy always, Larry.
Right.
And, I mean,
It's a good thing for the community.
So it's really for, the main thing would be vendors who come to town.
that's what I would get the most excited about. Well, the chamber too. The chamber would use it a lot. because
Yeah,
they
because
do their
it
own
does
credit card
cover
sales.
the building.
But all of the attendees at the
Yeah,
festival
as they're trying
always
to
have
find each
trouble
other.
using their phones.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a big help.
Okay.
And the other, maybe even more basic, pro of this is that this covers parking, public parking spots. And another thing we have to remember is we're very fortunate to have a new beautiful library that has meeting spaces for
Yeah.
virtual appointments. But what happens if they're all being used? Or what happens if you have somebody that's just not comfortable going into the library to take that meeting and they're more comfortable in their car?
Mhm.
We have people that come into Village Hall or used to come into Village Hall before the library all the time, looking for a quiet place to be able to have their Zoom class or their Zoom meeting or their telehealth. And this is another option for them that they could sit in a parking stall for half an hour and have that meeting if they needed to. So.
I think you'd be,
Good, good.
I think you'd be surprised at how many times I had people walk in who asked to use the Wi-Fi just to.
Yeah, you would be covered.
No, this is-
I mean, I probably wouldn't be, my building is too thick. But
Oh.
what I'm saying is like, but this prevents people from having to seek Wi-Fi.
And we have benches in most
Right,
of
I was
that
thinking about the
area.
amount of outdoor
downtown,
seating
yeah.
and benches around is quite a bit.
So do we want to make a motion on this?
Make a motion to approve the Green County Development Corporation Public Wi-Fi project.
You support all?
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
I'm sorry, who seconded?
I did.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Opposed?
Thank you.
Carries.
Roger, just one comment before we move on for public records mostly. We will be coming back to the village board once we have a date of this project's gonna go, and ask for those parameters. I also want Chief Servant to be involved in that conversation, so, we'll be coming back about that. So this is not the last that you'll hear about it. Thank you,
Thank you.
Wendy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item B, consideration discussion facade improvement grant application for 18 Sixth Avenue. Kelsey?
Yeah, so Anna, on behalf of Chuck at Pimple, submitted a facade improvement grant for Pimple's Old Tavern, which we all are very familiar with. Oh, yes, thank you. This went through CDA, the Community Development Authority. Anna was able to attend that meeting, and was able to answer any questions. She unfortunately could not make it tonight. But I made sure to have a conversation with her so that I was well versed to answer any questions. The application is exactly what this program is meant for. They are looking to improve their outdoor railing and fencing around the front of their building. Obviously a facade improvement and exterior improvement. They are requesting the full $6,000 grant amount, as the project does cost more than double of that. CDA did recommend approval for the full $6,000.
Yeah, definitely would be an improvement, at a very noticeable place in our community. My only concern, it said from 8/1 to 12/1, 4 months. I'm assuming the installation isn't gonna be that long a period, but.
No, just some flexibility, if you've tried to contact a contractor these days, their
Okay.
schedules are incredibly busy, and so really it was a range, that they aim to have this done in.
Okay,
Our program specifies that within 6 months of approval from the village board, you have to pull a building permit and start the project, and within 12 months of village board approval, you have to finish it. So she's well within those parameters, and I know from speaking with her that their hope is to try to get this done before the end of festival season, specifically Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
Just kind of figuring out what works best for them and their contractor.
great.
That's right, right?
Yes, I believe that's.
Well, Barnaby too also
Yeah, but
had.
his is higher.
He'll take us over.
His is 26, Ben Wright's is 25.
It's like a chuck.
Yep, it's,
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Yeah.
yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we aren't required to, yes, if it
Okay.
would be less than, the maximum grant amount, we could approve only what the lowest bid,
Got it.
what that would be, this
Okay.
is not that kind of situation.
I move to improve the facade improvement program for the pimples.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 6, library update.
Not too much has changed since we last spoke. In the next couple of weeks, we should have that shelving complete and all the signage on the shelving also complete. Outdoor furniture should also arrive and be secured. Things are going great. Those study rooms are always in use. Right now, we've got a group of daisies in the classroom doing whatever daisies do. So anyway, the public Wi-Fi is gonna be a great supplement. Those rooms are full all the time. And thank you to the village for their lawn services. Mike is doing a great job. He does his job, so. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Public Works and Safety, consideration discussion alcohol beverage license, Class B beer and liquor for Bloomer Enterprises.
Yeah, so Hallie's here tonight. Her and her husband recently purchased Odd House here on Second Street, so it's very exciting. Obviously, Odd House has been kind of a staple of our village, and it's exciting to see another great couple move in there and turn it into another new business. So it's really exciting. They applied for the exact same licenses that Odd House currently has. Amber at Odd House relinquished the license the same day that Hallie applied. There's also a letter from Amber in there asking the board to award that license to Hallie. Chief Sturtevant did his check, it all looks good, no concerns on the staff level, and this did go through Public Works and Safety with approval, recommendation for approval.
I move to approve the Class B with a license for Bloomer Enterprise LLC.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And thank you, Hallie, for coming. And what Jake told me today, what is gonna be the name of your establishment?
Dorfland Tavern.
Yeah, that's what he had told me. And then he had to explain it about the Linden tea
You want me
thing.
to explain it? I can
Yeah,
explain it.
Sure, please.
Dorfland means village Linden, and in Swiss and German villages, before there were village halls, or they would often have linden trees that grew in the center courtyards of their towns, and they would hold festivals and gatherings underneath them. So that is kind of the heart of what we hope to carry forward is community gathering space and a place for people to celebrate and be together. So it's great.
You make great jelly too from the linden blossoms.
Yes. Jake has been investigating what we can do with because like every part of the tree is edible, and we can make tea out of the leaves as well. So we're hoping maybe we can throw that into a drink somehow.
Okay, Hallie, you're,
Thank you.
come tomorrow and get your license up.
I'll give you a call.
Okay.
But yes, you'll have it. Yeah, you're good to go.
Okay, thank you. Okay, no Parks and Rec, no personal finance, no president's report. Okay, item 12, announcement. The village board will adjourn in closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statutes 1985 1G, conferring with legal counsel for a governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is likely to become involved. Consideration of possible action regarding nuisance property at 212 Second Street. Need a motion to go into closed session and a roll call vote.
And motion to go into closed session.
All right, Roger,
Yes.
Peggy?
Yeah.
Becca? Yep. Larry?
Yes.
Jesse?
Yep.
Sorry, John. John? I couldn't see you. Sarah? You have 7-0 for votes.
Okay, you got that, Chelsea?
Yep, Scott, you.
Before I run off, when you guys get back to the internet conversation, this is my card. I live in town.
Okay, thank
I-
you.
I worked in Badger Neck downtown Madison when they were doing all that, so I've actually, they're involved in that kind of work.
Hold on one second. All of our online guests, you can leave the meeting now, or I will remove you out. We're going to close session. Thank you so much.
assume that didn't include me, Kelsey.
Yeah, not
Pass
you.
it along,
No.
please.
Second, I have one left here. I just need to stop recording as well. Hold on. Sorry, I'm pulling double duty tonight.